Naturally, you don't have to become a ruler in ReconQuest, but there is the option to become a ruler here. And if you want to become a ruler, the first thing you should do is to make a claim to land. That is, you publicly state that this or that part of the, in your campaign, explored part of Thule is yours, to own and hold in perpetuity. And if you want to support from Gerard the Great, the ruler of Narvik City, you can register this claim for a fee, of course, in the Explorers Guild, administered by Leitar. Because, you know, every returning Thulan is a descendant of the man who used to own this land. This was their ancestral land. And the first to lay claim to something will be seen as its rightful owner. You can claim as much land as you want to and can afford, really. And legally speaking, anything registered as a claim in Narvik belongs to the individual who made and paid for the claim. Naturally, the other races are not too fond of the idea that you have to pay for claims to land in Thule, but that is of course part of the intrigue and drama. Now, the purpose of claiming land is of course because you want to build your domain there. And in ReconQuest, the expert rules, you have different types of domains. And the type of domain you have will depend on the character role you have. For example, if you are a bard, you can build a temple in a settlement, that is, someone else's settlement. And you will gain experience points from it, and you will gain temple taxes from it. So, and a temple will influence the settlement in many different ways. For example, it will ensure an increased population growth. And if in case of a plague or a disease, it will ensure that not that many really die from it, because you have bards there able to provide medical assistance. For the bard, though, you have to be level 8 in order to build a temple, because a bard is a traveling bard until level 8, when he becomes an uvate, which is basically a priest, and of course he can become a druid later on as well. But you have to be at least an uvate to open up your own temple and gain XP and silver from it, as described here. Now, if you are a bard, you can, or any other human, and you have a bard follower, you can also actually have your bard follower open up a temple for you in your settlement, or a retainer. If you're a dwarf, you gain influence based on the size of your population, and you get influence based on that. And you can claim 1 silver every month in taxes from each dwarf living there, and you get experience points equal to the amount of silver that you can accumulate from taxes or adventuring or other income, because dwarves are impressed and care a lot about material wealth, and therefore you will gain renown in dwarven circles based on how much wealth you have managed to accumulate. And here you can see a list of character roles and where they can build their domains and what type they typically, or what type of base they typically have. And you have some extra housing information here. The elf gains influence based on the size of the elven population in the settlement. In addition to that, you gain 1 silver in taxes each year. So note that they gain much less taxes than dwarves do. You also gain 50 experience points per month for every forest hex that is under your domain, your influence. And if you manage to turn an open hex into a forest hex, you gain 1,000 experience points. And in addition to that, you can, if it's an elf settlement smaller than a city, you can relocate it once a year, or actually once every 6 months. This is a proofreading copy, so it's not been updated. It's once every 6 months, actually. The halfling gains influence based on the size of his population, and in addition to that, he gains a silver piece per inhabitant every year. Again, the same as the elf. But the elf, the halfling gains experience points for every hex under his influence that has remained peaceful the whole month. That is, has not been exposed to anything unusual, such as raids or warfare or adventures or other strange or unwanted dealings, because halflings are kind of peaceful. They don't like all that stuff. So you get experience points if you manage to keep your realm in peace. Rangers are not rulers at all. Instead, they set up a wilderness camp, and they do that in an uncleared hex. And they gain experience points for every uncleared hex within their level range. And also, their base is secret, so if others just drop by their hex, they might not find it at all. And therefore also, of course, they avoid encounters when in their base. Sorcerers, not rulers either, and instead they build their bases with laboratories in the wilderness, and they cannot claim taxes from anybody because then they don't have a population. But they do gain experience points for every different hex terrain type within 2 hexes. Because they're doing research, they harvest herbs, minerals, other substances, and they study nature and the processes taking place in it. And they learn and gain renown from these scientific efforts. And therefore they need as many different types of terrain as possible within walking distance from their lair. So, it's a completely different type of domain. So you can build like a sorcerer's tower in the wilderness and gain XP from it. The thief, again, not a ruler, but someone who builds a guild in a city. And you know, a hamlet, village or town is not enough. You need a city for the thief to build their guilds. And you get, this is the most complicated domain in a sense, because you can claim a portion of the total monthly income taxes that the ruler collects, and you gain an amount equal to the number of thief followers in your guild in percentage. But you don't steal only from the ruler, or their followers, they steal from the population too. So only half of that is taken from his taxes. And then there are rules here for, if you have too many guild members, or if there are too many guilds, because that will be problematic, and it will increase the chance for the ruler to shut you down and arrest your guild members. And just like for the dwarf, thieves are impressed with wealth. So the more you can get your hands on, the more impressed other thieves will be by him. So he too gains a monthly XP equal to the amount of silver he has been able to make. From draining the treasury, stealing from ordinary folks, or from other endeavors, such as adventuring or local burglaries, role-played normally. And just like for the bard, you can have a follower thief set up a guild. Because if you might want to use it as some sort of spy base in an enemy settlement. The final is the warrior, which is the default human ruler. And the thing is that every other human character role in this game can, if they want to do so, instead of building their domain according to their character role, they can become a normal default human ruler, like a warrior. And a warrior will gain 1 silver piece every month for each human living in his realm in taxes. And he gains 50 experience points for every hex under his influence. And twice that if he is at war. The bigger his realm, the more power he has and the more renown he gains. And of course, if you're at war, you gain more renown. And technically, any character at any level can start their domain like this, except the bard, who has to be at least level 8 in order to build a temple. But if he wants to, he can build a warrior realm at level 1 if he has the money to it and the power to it. The next time I'm going to talk about influence and how that works. Thank you for watching.